welcome to another edition of The Outpost. And my name is Mike Hurt.
I'm Adam Alexander.
Yeah, and we have another great show for you. We're doing this one a little bit different. Traditionally, we've been in the studio with the good folks down there, and we thought we would bring things right here so you can meet some of the people here with Chapter 17, Winnebago County Ray H. Fuller. So with that, we have John Heft, who is the adjutant, and then we have Barbara Belmont, who is the commander of Chapter 17. So welcome to the Outpost.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, all right. Commander Barbara, I got to ask, first off, what branch of service were you?
Well, of course, the best one, the United States Navy.
Oh, no.
I knew.
Can we hit John?
Same question for you, John.
Okay, U.S. Army.
So what we're talking about is this is a joint operation here at Chapter 17 because we got the Army and the Navy working together. So we only have a couple minutes with each one. Adam, is there a specific question you'd like to pitch out to our folks?
I guess just generally, how did you get involved with the DAV? How long have you been in? And what do you take most from the DAV?
Actually, I served back in '68 and '69, and because of my disability, mainly from Agent Orange, they awarded me a disability in '90s after suffering for 40 years. But first thing they did after I left the hospital, the DAV in Milwaukee contacted me and said, "How'd you like to join?" I said, "Well, I belong to the Legion, I belong to the VFW, I belong to all." Nobody ever asked me. I don't know nothing about the DAV. So I joined, and of course they put me in Milwaukee. I sat there for 2 years until someone from Oshkosh, who belongs to this chapter, when we met at the Legion, said, "Heft, why don't you join our DAV?" I said, "I never seen no advertising." There was none back then in the 90s or 2000, whenever I joined. So I joined, and of course, from there it was history. I respected the DAV, the help I got through the DAV, and I belonged to a lot of service organizations, but DAV is the top of my list for what they do for me. In fact, I just got home an hour ago from Milwaukee from a major appointment. So other than that, DAV is giving back, especially what we didn't get. We give back to our younger people like you, Adam, just like you're giving back now. And I can't say enough about the DAV. I can go on, but I can pass it on.
Okay, well, great. Well, Commander Barbara, how exactly did you get in the DAV? Everybody's got a little different story.
Yes, you're right. Everybody does. I've been in the DAV 3 or 4 years, right around there for now. And basically, I just was awarded my disability from an injury that I had back in boot camp. And 20 years after I've been out, I was able to wasn't a fun thing, but started having issues again and found out that I was going to be classified as disabled now, and they service-connected my disability. So I went up to one of our past commanders of the DAV chapter and kind of asked him what the requirements were to join, because I've always heard really good about the DAV and always high praises. So it was an organization I wanted to look at getting into, and he said you just needed to be rated, and he said I can sign you up. So I took him up on it and joined the DAV.
I have to do a follow-up because you are the commander. You know, I've watched you here, and you've just done a phenomenal job, kind of a go-getter, right person, right time, just doing a great job. What is the best part of being a commander? It's a challenge, but what has been the best part, the most satisfying for you?
Well, the most satisfying part of being the commander of our DAV chapter are the people that we have in it. I have 100% support from all of our members. We need to get the job done. We all pitch in. We all do the job. It's not a one-man show. We all work together to get the job done. Couldn't ask for a better group of people. It's all about helping the veterans. How can we find more ways to get the veterans involved, get help to service members that are out there? And we're always looking for an opportunity, and we always have a committee that's willing to step up and chair any group that we need to do to get an event done.
All right. Thank you for joining us. And
Yeah, we enjoyed this segment, and now we are going to run off, and we're going to get 2 members of the auxiliary. So please stay with us.
We served our country like those before us.
You know, it was a dangerous area. All of Vietnam was dangerous.
The carnage of war left an indelible mark on me.
We came back and built lives. As time went on, we faced new challenges and found support to handle them.
I went to the VA, talked to my doctor.
I started doing groups. I started doing one-on-one counseling.
At MakeTheConnection.net, you can hear our stories and find tools and services available to you.
welcome back with our next guests here on the Outpost. Our next guests are from our auxiliary here, local in DAV Chapter 17.
Yep, we have Tom and Dar with us, and they're with the auxiliary, and right now we're going to get kind of the inside track of Unit 17, the auxiliary here with DAV Chapter 17 for Winnebago County. Rage Fuller. Welcome to the Outpost. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, I'm going to ask the first question. Dar, how'd you get involved?
Well, I got involved with the DAVA auxiliary because my husband is a member of the chapter, and in the beginning we were members of Chapter 46 in Neenah Menasha, and when they closed, we moved on to Oshkosh. We transferred in. And I got involved 33 years ago because the DAV had been so good to my husband, helping him get his disability ranking, and many times the DAV transportation van would give him a ride to Zablocki in Milwaukee for doctor's appointments. And DAV has just been a part of our life. He joined right out of the service in probably 67. So it's just been a part of our life, and I decided that it was time for me to get more involved. So after I joined, I started helping with fundraisers, brought fries. It's time to give back. It's time to give back to the DAV. You get up in the morning, you thank God you're alive, and I thank God my husband came home and is able to get support from our country and from the disabled American veterans. And legislation has done so much for our veterans, and the DAV is a big part of legislation. They go to the state capitol in Wisconsin and Washington, D.C. and fight for veterans' benefits. So that's why I am a part of the DAV Auxiliary, to support the veterans of our country, because without them, what would we have? We wouldn't have our freedoms.
Now, just to help me out before we turn things back over to Adam and Tom, you are the chaplain for the unit, am I correct? Or no, Dar's the chaplain, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm the chaplain.
And then we'll swing things over, but Tom is actually the adjutant for the auxiliary.
Yeah, Tom, give us the rundown of how you got involved in the auxiliary and what your role is.
It started way back when I was a young, guy going to college. It was at the time of the Vietnam War, and the veterans that were coming back and going to school were being kind of looked down upon. They were kind of treated like second-class citizens, and I never understood why. And as time went on, I just had my career and everything. And then when I married Sherry in 1990, her parents started to join these organizations. And of course, back then I couldn't join, but I came to the conventions and to the conferences to support them and to help Lee and Darlene and to transport them and everything like that. Then when they opened the door and let men in, I came in right away then because I knew I could, help serve. My dad served in World War II, and I figured I can give back to the vets who gave so much for us. And I vowed it even back when I was going to school, if there was something I could do to make sure that vets never got treated the way they were when they came home from Vietnam, I would do it. And serving in the DAV does that purpose. And I'll keep going as long as I can. And then last year when Darlene, my mother-in-law, her sight went to go and she couldn't perform the duties of treasurer anymore, I took that role on too, along with my role as adjutant. And I participated in the broad fires, the parades, and things like that. Because the veterans should never be looked down upon, and they should never be, again, treated as lower class citizens. They should be treated for the heroes and the great warriors that they were, for the sacrifice that they gave.
Thank you.
How are we doing for time? Do we have one more question, or how are you feeling? This is a very flexible show, by the way. I'm just checking, or should we go to our next guest? We are just going to check our camera real quick, but I got to ask you, Dar, what's the favorite thing you do when you're with the auxiliary? What do you like doing the most?
My favorite thing to do with the auxiliary is I like doing the brat fries. Serving people, telling them about the DAV and the DAV auxiliary and where our money that we collect goes. The different programs like DAV Transportation Fund, just County Veteran Service Officers, keeping the money locally.
Excellent point, excellent point. How about we wrap this one up and we'll bring our next two guests in. Okay. But hang tight, people. This is another exciting edition of the Outpost.
Acting the part of a hero is easy. Being one in real life is not. It takes more bravery and perseverance than most of us can imagine, and for many, more personal sacrifice than we will ever know. DAV provides free assistance to veterans of all generations and their families. By supporting DAV, we can help ensure that our veterans get the benefits they've earned and the honor that real-life heroes deserve. Help fulfill the promise to our men and women who have served. Go to davpromises.org.
Hey, everybody. We are back with another segment of the Outpost. Adam Alexander, Mike Hurt here, and we have two other fine guests of the organization, and they are
Ron Palm.
Ann Palm.
Adam's got a quick question for you, Ron.
Ron, how did you get involved in the DAV? How long have you been involved in? What do you get out of the
DAV? How long? I don't know. Then, no, more than 5 years, maybe 10 years. And I was looking for an organization to get involved in. And I felt that was... I found out I was 100% disabled for life, so I figured that I might as well join the disabled vets.
Ron, I got a quick question. What branch did you serve, and where was your service done?
Well, my branch was the Navy, and I was with the Squadron Unit 1 out of San Diego. And I made 5 tours in Nam on AKA. I got transferred to an LST, made another trip over Vietnam. And when I was in Hong Kong coming home, I figured that was going to be it. And all of a sudden I had orders to go to Da Nang to LCUs up and down the rivers.
How many years total did you do? 4
years.
4 years, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I made 6 trips over in Nam.
Wow. Well, you know, one of the things that you know, as you've kind of heard from Adam and I in the past, is DAV is really about family. It really is. And Ron, I don't think Ron ever misses a meeting for the chapter. But Ann, now you're involved with the auxiliary. How'd you get involved? What's it like?
Well, I came because of Ron, obviously. And the auxiliary, to me, is a very good organization. It's very active. I think we do a lot for the veterans. And again, it was really Julian that encouraged me to come, and so that's how I got involved.
Oh, wow, wow. That's great to hear. Do you have a quick question, Adam? Or?
What do you get most out of DAV? Why do you keep coming to the meetings and stay with the organization?
Oh, the satisfaction of helping the, the people and try to guide them, to the hospitals and clinics and stuff, which I really feel up on that. Yeah, I trust the VA more than I do regular doctors.
Well, I got to ask one thing. When I come to these meetings, if I see Ron, where's Ann? If I see Ann, where's Ron? I mean, it's really a team effort, and I really, I sense the love between you guys as a couple coming here. You enjoy it. What is the best part about being a team coming down here?
Should we say the meal? No. I just had to throw that in.
We do have the potluck at 5:30.
Yes, we do, and I enjoy it, obviously. I think that the DAV really helps the veterans more than any other veterans organization. Just really gets in there. We've gone to the homeless shelter with the DAV. Yep. Last year we did some programs at the museum with the Rosemary Clooney exhibit. And I just feel that DAV is there for the veteran.
Couldn't have said it better
Yeah,
myself.
that's what I was thinking. It was like, I can't follow up on that one. That's pretty good. Do we have time for one more, or do we?
That probably is cutting it pretty close, I'd imagine.
Okay. Well, we're going to wrap up this segment of The Outpost. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of The Outpost.
We grew up together. We believed in something bigger than ourselves. The military took me to one side of the world and her to the other. And even though she was always the strong one, when we caught up years later, I found out she had fallen on some hard times. It was her call to make, but doing it together made all the difference.
For veterans who are homeless or on the brink of homelessness, call 877-424-3838.
This is the final portion of The Outpost, and like I shared before, we are actually at the DAV Chapter 17 meeting. I kid you not. And we have two great guests, Adam and I. We have David Felton and Laura Felton. And welcome to The Outpost.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is exciting. So I got to ask first, always do, what branch did you serve?
U.S. Navy.
Navy?
Yeah, sailor.
Oh, okay. Well, we can say this
Couple
is
of squids.
Yeah, we can say this is a joint operation because we're the Army working with the Navy. So, I got to ask, did you get married in the service?
We did.
We did. Got married at the tail end of our service.
No kidding. So I got to ask Laura first, is that, how'd you get involved in DAV? I mean, there's a lot of different organizations out there. People have busy schedules, but, you're always here, you're engaged, you do some things at the state level, you really influence things. Could you tell us why DAV and also maybe a little bit about what you do with DAV? Give you the mic.
So we originally got involved with DAV in 2001, I believe it was. Became life members. DAV helped us file our claims, individually, obviously. And I had nothing but good things to say about DAV. They helped lots of stuff I didn't know about. As a new veteran coming out of the service, it was just very interesting learning all the stuff because I never went through TAPS. David did go through TAPS, I did not. So I really was at the mercy of anyone who was a veteran and who was willing to show me the ropes. And so I didn't know anything about being a veteran or what it meant to be a veteran. I just knew what it meant to serve and what it meant to be in the service.
Okay.
And so that, when I came out, it was a whole different story.
Okay. David, how did you get involved?
I went to TAP class. The DAV put me in for stuff. I got awarded. I didn't know what it was. So I went to the local DAV chapter and found out what my service connections were. Back then, computers weren't really prevalent. And then I learned a different way of serving because I didn't have to be clean shaven, you know. I didn't have to wear a uniform. And what I really liked about the DAV is they were narrow enough in scope that I could really learn more about the organization, where other organizations that are so much broader, and I feel like I have a better sense of mission just helping disabled veterans.
Outstanding.
Now, I had a quick question, Laura. With some of the things you do, one of the things I've always liked about DAV, to me, it's always been a very progressive organization. A good example, actually, the auxiliary people we had by before. Tom is in the auxiliary, active member, and so much had been, the men go in one room, the women go in the other room. It's not like that with DAV. Women warriors are in the chapter as well as men warriors, working together side by side. Now, I know that you're involved with the Women's Committee, I think, at the state level, correct?
I am.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about that?
So I've just been to one meeting so far, so this is very new to me, but I'm very excited to be on this because I like to advocate whenever I can about women veterans and the issues that we experience and that we face, because there are different things that go on with us that maybe a lot of veterans don't know about or a lot of veterans don't see. And, like I'll give the example, and maybe a lot of people have heard of this example, but, you're on Veterans Day when you go out, or even if you go out and you've got like a veteran tag plate, you'll have somebody say thank you for your service, but they'll say it to the man if the man is with you, and they won't even acknowledge you, maybe unless you're alone. And even when you're at the VA, if you're with your husband, they will look at him to be the veteran and not at you. So there are different issues that women go through, and I think that it can be trying just to even be understood, some of our issues, not just recognition, but just as far as some of the medical issues. I mean, there are issues with mammography not being held on site at the hospitals. There are a lot of other issues too, but that's just to name one.
Okay, great.
That could be a show all by itself. We could easily.
Yeah. Okay. How are we doing for time? Okay, but before Adam gets right, any final thing you want to say about DAV? And I got to ask you, David, you are like a high-speed guy. You love the organization. You've got a passion. Why? Why are you involved like you are? I mean, it's incredible.
I'm lucky enough to have a female veteran with me as my wife, so I see both sides of the coin, and I like translating through the history and what is current. We are a family program here,
Yep.
and we help veterans. And I'm a family man from my core heart. So I love everything we do because it comes from a family perspective and how we're holistic when we treat a veteran. And that's why I charge so hard.
Yeah, I just want to comment real quick, but that's one of the things that draws me to Chapter 17. It's the people. This is my second family. This is family to me. These are my brothers and sisters, and you just can't explain it. But that camaraderie from the military days kind of sticks in, and in the military we watched out for the troop on the right and left, and now as veterans we watch out for our veterans on the right and left. So that doesn't change. So.
I want to thank you both for joining as well, because it's nice to have another couple people in the room that weren't alive to see the moon landing.
Giddy up and low is not part of our vocabulary for getting a driver's license.
Yeah, just thanks for joining us, and it's nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you guys too. Thank you very much.
And that wraps up another edition of
The Outpost.